You're listening to the Airline Pilot Guy Show.
The view from our side of the cockpit door.
WAPG. It's the Airline Pilot Guy.
Airline Pilot Guy, episode 702.
Yeah, he's up in the sky. It's the Airline Pilot Guy.
Hello, you're listening to the Airline Pilot Guy Show, the view from our side of the cockpit door, with Yost Captain Jeff broadcasting live from APG headquarters in Roswell, Georgia. Today's show is recorded the week of March 30th, 2026.
Yeah, he's up in the sky. It's the Airline Pilot Guy. Picture light and he's flying by with the Airline Pilot Guy.
In today's episode, a phony bomb threat against a plane landing in Atlanta, and 2 airline passengers get to sit in the cockpit on an overbooked flight. Also ahead, more news, your feedback, and today's plane tale, Basam Aggad interview. So get all settled in, tray tables and seat backs in the upright and locked positions, electronic devices powered on. I'm Radio Roger, and Flight 702 is ready for pushback.
Thank you, Radio Roger. He's an award-winning TV and radio reporter currently at the #1 all-news station in the nation, 1010 Wins on 92.3 FM in
New York City.
Welcome to the Airline Pilot Guy Show. It's an aviation podcast covering the latest in aviation news and answering your great feedback. I'm Captain Jeff, former U.S. Air Force pilot and retired Delta Airlines captain. And joining me from his Garden View studio,
in Hartford, Hereford, and Hampshire.
retired professional dog photographe, former RAF, RAAF fighter pilot, retired Airbus A330, A340 captain for Virgin Atlantic Airways. It's Captain Nick.
I don't know if I've ever been one of those, but that sounds marvellous. How lovely to be back on the show again, Jeff. It's fantastic. Now, APG 702. Who knows about the Boeing 702? I'm sure you've all seen it and, marveled at it. There it is.
Yeah, I see them flying around all the time.
Exactly. It's not what you think. That is if you think it's a long-forgotten airliner, because the Boeing 702 is a family of communication satellites. First, a very spacey-orientated show today, isn't it? First launched in 1999, these geosynchronous orbit satellites span a variety of weights from 13,000 pounds, that's nearly 6 metric tons, down to a mere 5,100 pounds, about 2.3 tons. And the latest launch was as recent as November 2025.
Very nice.
Have they come up with a max yet?
Well, they tried to, but it didn't stay up very long.
Oh, no.
Yeah, probably one of the doors flew off.
Oh, God. All right, well, that voice you're hearing there, the comedian from the Northwoods of the Atlanta suburbs, race car driver, self-taught chef, and commercial multi-engine instrument-rated pilot with an interest in anything with enough horsepower to kill him. It's Alpha Juliet.
Hey, Jeff. Hey, Nick. Liz. Good to see everybody in our chat. Glad to see you guys on a Saturday morning, although it messes with my drinking schedule. So.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, we'll try to make up for it somehow. Yeah, all right. And also joining us from her studio in Toronto, Ontario, Canada, retired financier, an aviation enthusiast, spreadsheet master, and our producer, it's the lovely Liz Piper.
Hi, everybody. Happy Easter weekend for those who are celebrating.
Thank you very much. Interestingly, in the intro, it sounded like the plane tale was a Son of God interview, and I'm thinking, wow, how appropriate is that? It's Easter weekend.
Indeed.
Yeah,
Nick has
quite
the
a
best
scoop.
contacts.
Maybe I misunderstood him. I don't know. We'll find out later in the show when it's time
Have a
for the
good
plane
show,
tale.
you guys.
All right,
Cheers.
thank you. All right, let's do some news.
Stand stand by for news.
All right, last show we talked about that tragedy in New York at LaGuardia Airport, the Jazz CRJ 900 hitting the ARF vehicle. This first news item states pilots at LaGuardia have complained about close calls and air traffic control confusion for years. Please do something. And let's see, also there's another article here in this, the tower and ground duties should not have been combined before midnight at the earliest. Okay, let's start with the first one from X.com, Ed O'Keefe. For years, pilots have complained about controller miscommunication and close calls with ground vehicles at New York's LaGuardia Airport, according to reports filed in publicly available databases. CBS News reviewed dozens of reports dating back 3 decades about the airport where a deadly collision occurred earlier this week. And as an aside, this is Jeff speaking now. I'm not reading from the article. I think, people have heard in the past or asked me, like, what were some of the closest calls you've ever had? And I don't know if you recall me talking about an incident that occurred when I was landing on runway 4, the same runway that this accident occurred. And the airplane in front of me, a Beechcraft, what was it? A Beech, not a 1900, but a King Air, went around. And then I thought he was off on his own. And unbeknownst to us, he kind of circled around at a 270 and landed on 13 and crossed right in front of us. And we really had to nail the brakes and to prevent a collision on the runway. And that was back in the 90s. So things have been kind of sketchy at LaGuardia for iffy for quite some time. All right. So going back to the article, please do something. An airline captain who experienced what he deemed was a close call with another aircraft wrote last summer in NASA's Aviation Safety Reporting System, where reports are filed anonymously and can take months to be posted publicly. The captain reported that air traffic control failed to provide guidance about a departing flight that crossed their runway about 10 seconds before he landed. Kind of very similar to, that's why it reminded me of my situation, where in my situation, there was actually an airplane landing right in front of us. Anyway, so the article continues to talk about that. And so obviously there have been problems and concerns for quite some time at LaGuardia. The other article that Liz has included in this first news item is one from ctvnews.ca, Canadian TV, I think. Is that what that stands for, Liz?
Correct, yeah.
Okay. LaGuardia controller staffing may have violated procedures on night of collision, a document shows. Air traffic control staffing at LaGuardia Airport on the night an Air Canada jet collided with a fire truck may have violated the facility's procedures by combining roles before midnight, according to a document seen by Reuters. The crash at the New York airport at about 11:37 p.m. Eastern on March 22nd, which killed both pilots, has revived concerns over U.S. air traffic control staffing shortages and the workload of controllers across the country. Let's see. The National Transportation Safety Board last week said that as part of its crash investigation, it was seeking information on the duties being performed by each controller. If the controller involved in the crash was performing both air and ground duties, that would be inconsistent with the LaGuardia Tower standard operating procedures. An NTSB final report on a 97 collision at LaGuardia between a private jet and a vehicle referenced new procedures being put in place afterward to ensure, quote, local and ground positions shall not be combined prior to midnight at the New York airport. So it looks like they're investigating to see if that was kind of a clear violation of the standard operating procedures that evening. What do y'all think?
Interesting. When I was in the military, Jeff, and I know it's a different environment, but we had very clear rules about how you write down an order. So if something was to be done and there was no wriggle room about, okay, going to suggest it, or perhaps it ought to be done, or whatever, you read it in a particular way, and that language meant that was a no holds barred. That had to be
non-negotiable.
Non-negotiable, as Liz just said. But if you just say this is a procedure, a standard operating procedure, there's nothing to prevent you from going, all right, I don't want to do things standard tonight. I'm going to do things slightly non-standard. That doesn't necessarily mean you're breaking the rules. You're just electing not to do a standard procedure. You're deciding to do a non-standard procedure. So if they need to rewrite their procedures in the tower, perhaps it's to make it more definite so that there is no wriggle room. You can't decide not to obey these procedures.
Alpha Juliet, do you have anything to add?
No, I agree. It's the difference between shall and should when you're writing rules.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. Good point about the standard operating procedures. And there are times when you put in to effect non-standard procedures. So
in the airlines, though, your SOPs are non-negotiable. Is that correct, though? If you have a standard operating procedure, you're not supposed to deviate from them, are you?
No. It's not expected that you would, and I don't ever recall any kind of discussion to what Captain Nick just said about, shifting from standard to non-standard operating procedures. I was just, I think, understood by everybody that an SOP, a standard operating procedure, was basically in concrete.
Mandatory,
that was what
right?
You did. Yeah, mandatory.
Okay.
Well, I mean, but there's always going to be deviations to SOPs, right? You have circumstances that are outside the boundaries of those SOPs. So engine failure, for example,
right.
You're required to be, let's talk about a stable approach versus an unstable approach. Well, you have to go around. Well, you're a single engine.
Exactly. Yeah.
Going to break that rule or go outside that standard procedure.
That's why a lot of people will talk about these emergency procedures as non-normal procedures. So I guess
one of the checklists I use calls it abnormal procedures.
Abnormal or non-normal. I think we early on had called them abnormal procedures. And then somebody decided, let's call them non-normal procedures, whatever. But it's the same thing. All right. Interesting.
I just wanted to make the point, though, and you've alluded to it in your earlier reading of that article, but this has been going on for a long time. You quoted your own case, and that was back in the 90s. And they've got reports here of a collision of an aircraft and a ground vehicle in 1997. I think that might have been an actual collision. So, when something has been happening for decades, as it appears to have done, it becomes the norm, doesn't it? So whereas at another airport you might guys would go, well, we'd never do that. If you're at an airport where it's been going on for so long that it is almost the accepted procedure that we will do this, then there's no inertia to change. And 2 deaths is a huge amount of inertia, but I do wonder, after all these reports, why people can't get their heads around that this is now got so serious, we need to change. And they had to wait for an actual collision which took lives for, this to become something that they really want to address. And that depresses me, because there are so many instances in the aviation world of things that have gone on and never been fixed until there's a crash or something major happens. And then they go, okay, right, well, now we'll ought to change this. And people eventually get round to making it a rule that you have to do something different. I find it just a bit depressing. I really do.
And sadly, it's not just in the aviation world. I mean, we can think about traffic, like automobile traffic and intersections, or, accidents. And until somebody dies in one of these things, if something like that happens before they actually spend the money to put in some kind of a traffic light or something to improve the safety of that intersection. And I'm sure there are parallels in all kinds of different fields, like in medicine. I'm sure there are probably a lot of Dr. Steph were here with us today, I'm sure she'd be able to, elucidate several different things that have happened in that world where until somebody really, suffered or died, that they, it was something like that before they actually put in a new procedure or whatever. So, all right, we're going to start this next news item with a video from Bass Aviation. Real Aviation Communications, 29 March 2026.
Frontier Flight 2539, get away the heavy Airbus on Delta, southbound, and then taxi Foxtrot Echo. You can make the 180 in the Echo pad looking westbound, and then I'll let you know when your gate's open.
Just some context here, a little bit of a setup. This is the Atlanta International Airport and a Frontier flight coming in from Columbus, Ohio to Atlanta, and they have just landed.
All right, go give way to the heavy and then taxi Foxtrot Echo and do the 180 in the Echo pad. Sorry, we'll face westbound. Frontier Flight 2539. Ground Frontier Flight 2539. No, we're having a little issue here. It looks like it could be a level 4 threat.
A level 4 threat, Roger. Do you require any assistance?
Probably, yes. At least bomb rescue location, Frontier Flight 2539.
Okay, just hold short of Charlie, Frontier Flight 2539, and it's a level 4 threat. Do you have any other information?
Not at this time. That's all we have right now. Frontier Flight 2539. We're holding short where we're at.
Okay, he said, at least, some kind of a location, a bomb risk location, I think is actually what he said.
Ground Frontier Flight 2539. I have more information. Would you like me to display on this frequency, or would you like me on a different frequency?
Frontier Flight 2539, 187. You can call them and let them know on that.
All right, 187. Thanks, Frontier Flight 2539.
I bet every aircraft on that frequency has now dialed that up on their second box.
How did you know?
Frontier Flight 2539.
Frontier Flight 2539.
Okay, Frontier Flight 2539 have information about the level 3 threat, not level 4 threat, but level 3 threat. I'd like to relay.
Frontier 2539, Land Tower, go ahead.
A black male, approximately 5'9", sitting in seat 3 Alpha. He's in his seat. He's already threatened to kill the lady that's sitting next to him, and
He's threatening to kill the lady sitting next to him.
he's saying that he has a bomb on board, approximately 58 to 60 years old.
And that's going to kill everybody, by the way, if it's a bomb.
That's an old bomb.
Yeah, that's exactly. That's
Black male, 5'9", 3 Alpha, threatening to kill the lady beside him. Says he has a bomb on board. Any details on the bomb?
No details as of right now. That's as much information as we got. We're running our checklist. Once we find more information, we'll get back to you.
All right, we're going to move you to plan on Sierra Golf 6 shortly. And are you able to move at this time?
Yes, we are able to move at this time. We'll plan Sierra Golf 6.
Getting some bleed over from another frequency.
2539, go back to ground on point 9. Who will move you? And Frontier Flight 2539, ground you up.
Just flip the switch, Frontier Flight 2539.
Frontier Flight 2539, are you ready to move?
Hey, from Frontier Flight 2539.
Frontier Flight 2539, turn right onto taxiway Delta. Call the ramp on 3137.
Right on Delta, ramp 35. Say the frequency one more time.
3137.
3137, Frontier Flight 2539. Frontier Flight 2539, joining you on Delta.
Frontier 2539, where do they have you guys headed to?
Just told us turn right on Delta and contact you, but it sounded like Sierra Golf 6 eventually.
Alright, Frontier 2539, continue south on Delta, hold short of Lima, contact ground 121.75.
Wow, lots of frequency
Alright,
changes.
we'll continue on Delta, south on Lima, and contact ground Frontier Flight 2539.
Just some context here, and Liz is saying, wow, a lot of frequency changes, and the reason for that is in Atlanta you have the North Runway complex, then you have the terminal complex, and then you have the I guess the middle complex, the 27s and 9 runways, and then of course the most furthest south runway, runway 1028, on that side of the field, and every one of these segments have different frequencies for control. And the reason why he had to contact Ramp Tower there is because he's passing through that area between the International Concourse and Concourse E Echo, and that's controlled by a local ramp controller. Now he's got to go back to ground control that he's cleared that area.
Frontier 2539, you'll hold short of Lima and contact ground.
Hold short of Lima, Frontier Flight 2539.
Frontier 2539, you up yet?
Okay, from Frontier Flight 2539.
Alright, Frontier 2539, turn right Mike and hold short of runway 9 left at uniform.
Alright, right turn Mike, we'll hold short 9 left at uniform Frontier Flight 2539.
I wonder if I should advance this a little bit to the part where they're talking with the authorities, because this is just the process of making it across runways and taxiways and that kind of thing. So let's see if I can find. Okay.
Are they sending him downtown?
No, downtown's actually to the north.
So it's actually farther away from downtown.
They're sending them down to Peachtree City, I think. That's where all the pilots live.
6 on Sierra Golf Frontier Flight 2539.
Thank you. And if you have time, can I get the fuel and souls on board as well as infants and any hazmat?
Currently, we have 158 souls on board, 1 infant, and we have 6,000 pounds of fuel, Frontier Flight 2539.
Okay, and you said zero hazmat?
Zero hazmat, Frontier Flight 2539.
Thank you. So R6, I'll see if I can get any more. What I have right now is 158 souls on board, 1 infant, 6,000 pounds of fuel, and zero hazmat.
That is correct, Frontier Flight 2539.
And that's that Frontier call sign Airbus, I'm sorry, Frontier Flight 2539 is the call sign is the Airbus 320. Frontier Flight 2539, you at a secure frequency 118.7 now.
Back to 187, Frontier Flight 2539.
R6, Frontier 2539.
Oh, there's a good accent.
We have emergency aircraft standing by. If you have any issues going on, just give us a holler on this channel. We'll be standing.
We'll be in Atlanta.
We'll be on frequency.
We'll get a holler.
In case you were confused.
Frontier 2539, Atlanta Tower. Go ahead, Frontier Flight 2539.
I want to make sure that the cockpit as well as the cabin secure.
Everything is currently secure, Frontier Flight 2539.
Thanks, sir.
Yeah, the passenger is seated. The flight attendants have calmed him down, but he had repeated multiple times about the bomb threat. So they're assessing, I guess there's another person he was traveling with on board the aircraft. He has calmed down and sitting in his seat at this point.
I'm thinking that this is probably the captain speaking now.
Has he given any details of the location of the bomb or the type of bomb?
No, no locations, no details. Just also offered to kill the passenger sitting next to him. They had somewhat of an altercation, I guess.
He's offered. That's kind of him to offer
if
to kill her.
I'd be happy to kill you. She didn't accept.
Roger, thank you.
And that's why he decided, I'm going to just blow up the entire airplane with the bomb.
If you don't want me to kill you, then we're all going out.
And this is Frontier Flight 2539. Not sure who all I'm talking to, but we've been trying to coordinate with our company dispatch SOC and our security coordinator, but we are kind of standing by on any more information as far as where we go from here.
And Frontier 2539, are you currently in communication with law enforcement?
We are not. We have coordinated with our operations and our company as far as getting a hold of someone, but I don't have any other way to talk to, unless there's a frequency I can talk to them on.
Frontier Flight 2539, you can contact the airport operations or the police directly once they're on frequency.
Okay, appreciate that. 2539. And for anybody on frequency aircraft, Frontier Flight 2539. We have shut both engines down. We are just running on our APU power source now. So if anybody needs to approach the aircraft, engines are shut down.
That's a good comment.
Frontier 2539, Fire Chief.
Go ahead, Frontier Flight 2539.
Can you confirm that the engines are shut down?
Okay. Hello. We just told you that.
Is this thing on? Hello?
Hello?
Roger, Fire Chief.
And I just want to confirm, should we disarm the doors? Enter this on frequency, Frontier Flight 2539. We will be disarming 1L.
That's Fire Chief. Are you disarming the door?
And for Frontier Flight 2539, do we have anybody in direct communication with us right now from law enforcement?
Yeah, APD is directly behind the aircraft. We're trying to get one of the APD officers to come to us.
so they can talk to the aircraft on frequency
I thought
right
it
now.
said APG.
That's
not
Atlanta
APD.
Police Department,
I
APD.
thought it was APG.
Oh,
I thought
APG.
Jeff was
APG
down
is there. I was there that
We're
day.
right there.
Jeff's
Yeah.
on site.
Flight 2539, you
They called
copy?
him in to negotiate.
Good copy, Frontier Flight 2539.
And whoever's on frequency for Frontier Flight 2539, just to be aware, we've got the person that made the threat, 3 Alpha. We also believe he's traveling with a passenger at 29 Delta.
And that's the dude that has a
Another
bomb.
male.
Okay, airport ops, copy that. We'll pass it along.
We won't do anything
Okay.
with it, but we'll pass it along.
The aircraft was met by law enforcement and all occupants deplaned 45 minutes later
That's a
at
long time.
9:22 Zulu. Yeah, long time. Yeah, okay. So,
Mash has got a great comment here.
Masha says, I think they missed holler on my radio RT exam. Radio transmit. What's RT?
Radio telephony.
Telephony. Oh, thank you. Yeah, holler is
wording there.
definitely a good one.
That's the level 6 English.
Yeah.
Well, I thought emergency has only went up to level 4 or 5, but 6 would be impressive.
No, not the emergency, the English rating.
Oh, right. Oh, fair
Yeah. Yeah. Just holler if you need something. All right.
I have to
Yes,
say,
sir.
I don't remember these levels much when I was working. Are that relatively recently?
No, they've been around for a couple decades.
I don't
When we
think our
go through our
company
security
is.
training, at least in the U.S.,
really?
we have different levels: level 1, 2,
It
3.
may be I just wasn't listening in the classroom.
But honestly, I had to always go and reference that page in my operating manual.
just-
I was impressed with the dude coming right away and saying we have a level 4, and I'm thinking, ooh, dang, he must have just gone through recurrent training.
I thought he was great on the radio, actually.
Yeah, he was very good on the radio, Liz, the co-pilot there. Yeah, and the captain, she was really, really good and letting people very, very good communication. Saying, hey,
Fire chief,
we've got
not so
engines
much.
shut down, we got the APU running, and then of course nobody was listening to her. Hey, you got the engine shut down? Yeah, I just said
We
that.
women are used to that.
I suppose so.
Selective hearing.
Yeah. All right.
If you talk on frequency and no one's around to hear it, does it really count?
Yeah, exactly. Is it really a level 4 threat?
Good point. Yeah. All right.
So, but was there a device on the airplane? No one told us?
No. It was a fake hoax, as are probably 99.9% of them. Thankfully.
That's a pretty serious thing to do, though. So that guy's, is he going to face jail time?
You should.
Yeah, I don't know. Did they say anything about that in the article, in the story there? At that point, I don't think they really.
And it's a federal offense as well.
Yes.
isn't it? And not something to do lightly.
I just don't understand exactly what he thought he would be accomplishing. He obviously is upset with the passenger next to him and wants to kill her. But why would a bomb threat be helpful in this situation for him? I don't get it.
Perhaps he wasn't thinking clearly, but yeah, quite right.
Yeah. Well, iHallBox is in our live audience. By the way, you too can join our live audience if you follow us in the socials. And Liz puts out those notices when we're going to record live. And you should join us sometime while we're recording live, because the live chat room is a hoot. Anyway, iHallBox says he was right at the frontier of FAA threat knowledge. Boom. Yeah. Okay. Here we go. That deserves a rim shot and a laugh track. Very nice. Well done. Well played. All right. Shall we continue with the news? Okay. All right. Let's do that.
Please.
All right. How about, let me see if I need to make sure that I'm on the correct item. Okay. This is an item from, well, it's a couple different sources. YouTube videos from Juan Blancalirio's channel. Juan Brown's Blancalirio channel, and also from simpleflying.com. And this is involving a Delta A330 engine fire, an A330 taking off from Guarulhos Airport, International Airport. And do I get a bell? Thank you. So Yeah, what is that? Sao Paulo? Yeah. And, well, you know what? Let's play just a little snippet of Juan Brown's excellent video.
Guarulhos.
No.
Guarulhos.
No, there's no E.
Did you guys see this?
Yes.
Delta Airlines Flight 104, just before midnight on Sunday, the 29th of March. Airbus A330 with the Pratt & Whitney 4000 engine. Just after takeoff from Guarulhos.
Are they cheering or what?
No, they're screaming.
Kids,
for
you
dear
just
life.
don't want to be an airline pilot? This is exactly what you have to train for your entire career.
He's right.
You've got one chance to get this right. And this crew did. My name's Juan Brown. You're watching the Blanco Lirio channel. Let's get into it.
Let's get into it. Thank you, Juan.
I don't
as
want
I
to
said,
get into
he does.
that fire. It looks nasty.
Yeah. We're looking at the out of the passenger left side passenger window just aft of the wing, and you can see the glow of the fire from the number one, the left engine on the underside of the wing, and the what are those flap tracks? I guess.
Yep.
Flap track.
boxes.
iHall Boxes says the one-time passenger puts their window shade up. Yeah, no kidding. This is one of those cases where they'd hoped that everybody had them closed, right?
That's right.
Yeah, they did it's a great video, by the way, by Juan. You should watch it, and he'll take you through exactly all the procedures that they go through, and they do basically kind of a radar pattern to bring the airplane back around and safely land, and not a soul was injured in this. And but he makes the reason why I love this is that he really goes through and emphasizes that this is what we train for, people. This is why we get paid the big bucks out there.
You would do this in the sim a lot, right?
Oh, we would do this in the sim almost every year. I mean, it's or every other year. No, pretty much every time you go into the sim. Whether it's a line training scenario and there's a good chance you could get an engine fire in a line training scenario, or if it's the maneuvers validation that they do every other time, you definitely do the engine failure at this critical point in the takeoff. So anyway, there's an article here that talks about all that. At this point, when he put out this video, he didn't know exactly what was going on with the engine. But Liz, if you'll put that back on to the stage for me, please, and then I'll play this subsequent video from Juan.
Well, there's your problem right there. It ain't got no veins in it. Where'd the veins go? And where in the heck did all the bolts go that holds this case together? This case is supposed to be fastened together with bolts just like this. Did this come apart when the engine came apart, or did the technicians open this up afterwards? My name's Juan Brown. You're watching the Blanco Lirio channel. This is the Pratt & Whitney 4000 engine from the Delta Airlines Flight 104 that had this catastrophic engine failure on takeoff out of Sao Paulo, Brazil the other day on 29 March. Let's check it out.
All right. So we'll have the link to this video as well in our show notes, so you can check it out with Juan. Anyway, so a low-pressure turbine failure, uncontained low-pressure turbine failure. What a mess.
Absolutely. For me, the fascinating thing is something that you get this in the simulator, and you go around and you land and you go, well done, let's go and have a coffee and talk about that. No one expects you to set the airport on fire during your takeoff, so that when you turn around and go, you're facing a landing in a burning airport. I'm going, no one ever dreamed up that scenario for me, thank the Lord, because I would have gone, oh Lord, I've got an engine on fire. And if it had been a really bad grass fire that they ignited on takeoff with this burning engine, it might have prevented them from returning, particularly if the smoke had been bad, in which case you've now got to divert to another airport, which you weren't prepared for, with a burning engine, and you're going, oh my God, I never dreamt that up. You know, I thought this crew did a really good job.
There was another one of these just like a month before this one here closer to home at Savannah. He had an engine failure and lit the whole airport on fire.
Oh, really? I didn't hear about that one.
All the way down the runway. Yeah.
Wow. So the thing,
Delta Flight 1067.
Thing is interesting to me is I think I agree with you, Captain Nick, the crew did a great job of handling the situation. The tower people, I'm wondering, let's see, if you'll watch the video, you'll see that they let an airplane land right on that same runway after the Delta 104's engine just comes apart and starts a fire. And then there was no airport runway inspection or anything. And you have to imagine they're looking out the window. They see it's night. They see this. It's clear to see that there's something wrong with the engine. It's on fire. It's probably shredding itself and spewing parts all over the place. It's got to be parts all over the runway. And they're still operating on that runway, letting people land on it with no inspection.
Very good point. Very good point, what? Jeff. Yeah, exactly.
You think LaGuardia has problems?
Yeah. I just say thank the Lord when I flew the 330, which I did for many years, that we had Rolls-Royce Trents rather than these engines.
Yeah, nothing ever happens with a Rolls-Royce.
No, nothing ever happens to a Trent. No, it just carries on. It's like having a steam engine on your wing.
What's interesting is when I watched another video that it was that same footage that Juan was using of the passenger view out the left window and all the sparks and fire and everything happening and all the screaming and everything else in the cabin. Somebody writes in the comments, the pilots didn't come on a PA and, tell everybody what's going on. I'm thinking, it's kind of intense right now. It's a very heavy airplane. We only have one engine now, and one of them's on fire, and we have some things to take care of before we can talk to you. So
we'll be right with you.
We'll be right with you.
5 in this cockpit.
Yeah. Crazy.
Oh, well.
This is something that happened at where? San Antonio? Yeah. Okay.
San Antonio.
This is from the Aviation Herald.
About a month ago, February 27th.
About a month ago, February 27th, 2026, a police helicopter crosses final approach at San Antonio. An American Airlines Airbus A320-200, registration November 669 Alpha Whiskey, performing flight 1657 from Charlotte, North Carolina to San Antonio, Texas, was on final approach to San Antonio's runway 4 when a San Antonio police helicopter flew through the approach path. The A320 continued the approach and landed without further incident. The FAA reported on Friday, February 27, American flight, I thought it was the 26th. Oh, it's 27th. Okay. American Airlines flight 1657 was cleared to land at San Antonio International Airport when a police helicopter was flying through the airport's final approach path. The helicopter and aircraft were on converging courses when the helicopter made a left-hand turn to avoid the American Airlines flight. On March 18th, so let's do the math, 9 days before, the FAA moved to release GNOT, that stands for General Notification, I believe. Effectively, that's number 7110.801, effectively banning visual separation between helicopters crossing the flight path of arriving or departing aircraft within Class B, Class C, and terminal radar surveillance airspace. Is that what the TRSA stands for?
Service area.
Service area. Okay, thank you. The instruction remains effective until December 24th, 2026, and was triggered by the mid-air collision over the Potomac last year. Let's see. And so we're probably showing, or maybe you already have, the general notification where it basically says this is it GNOT or GNOT? Do you know, AJ, how that's pronounced?
I think you could pronounce it either way.
Okay.
I think general notification is correct.
Okay. General notification revises FAA order JO 7110.65 air traffic control, paragraph 721, in response to concerns about helicopter or powered lift aircraft transiting across the flight paths of arriving and departing aircraft. visual separation must cease between helicopter or powered lift aircraft crossing the arrival or departure paths of these aircraft. Okay, so I guess maybe somebody didn't get the memo at the San Antonio International Airport. So that's a critical thing. Oh, wait, but I don't think that happens anywhere else, does it?
No.
And I'm kind of, this particular event, they were on converging courses, but they were altitude separated. They were more than 500 feet apart. So I need to go back and check and what the actual vertical separation requirements are. But I would be surprised if it's a lot more than that.
It could be. But even then, if they cross the approach or departure paths in this type of airspace now, according to that general notification, that's not allowed, right?
Well, no, so this notification is removing, the way I read it is that it's removing the visual separation, which is basically you can be closer than the standard separation if you have visual reference or visual contact with the traffic. So if you can see each other, maintain visual separation. That means you guys look at each other and don't hit.
Okay.
So you can't say that anymore.
Okay, you can't do that anymore, but they can still have helicopters crossing as long as they're under standard separation and also under control, radar control.
Right.
Okay, good point. Well, let's see. I can't imagine that this would have happened to anybody else. Vast Aviation Video, our favorite.
United 589 to set to maintain 3,000. 3,000, United 589.
This is at Santa Ana, John Wayne.
Approach 925, Lake Irvine request.
925, tentative approach on 1281.
1281, 925.
It's an Army Black Hawk helicopter.
United 589, right turn 090. Right 090, United 589.
SoCal approach 925, Lake Irvine request.
925, SoCal approach, go ahead.
Yes, ma'am. Good evening. 925, approximately 2,600 descending. We'll request to go through the TFR via the Catella arrival back to Los Alamitos.
That was where I grew up.
925, squawk 0217.
0217, 925.
All right. United 1590, cancel your approach clearance. Maintain 5,200. Fly present heading.
5,200 and present heading at 1590.
United 1704, Joe Wing Tower 268.
Go to Tower 268, United 1704, good day.
United 589, join airport 3 o'clock, 12 miles.
Yes, United 589.
United 589, Silver's approach 20 right.
Cliff visual approach 20 right, United 589.
925, the radar contact over Lake Irvine. Altimeters 999, and information Oscar is current at Los Alamitos.
Copy 2999er and Oscar 925, thank you.
United 1590, you want the visual or the ILS tonight?
Visual approach is good for United 1590.
Roger. United 589, helicopter traffic 11 o'clock, 4 miles westbound, the H-60 helicopter 1900 descending.
Look for that traffic, United 589.
Right there, they're about 1,000 feet separated, and that does shrink down to about 500 feet.
Okay, let's continue then. The helicopter is kind of crossing at a almost 90-degree angle over the final approach path, and the incoming United Flight 589.
925, there's traffic 1 o'clock, 3 miles, 2,700, 737. That's straight in for 20 right.
925 has traffic in sight. We'll avoid them.
And that's what you're saying that general notification doesn't allow for anymore, right?
You can still say it. You just can't go below the visual separation minimums by saying it. Used to be you could go closer or vertically or laterally
as long as you just don't hit them.
We've got them in sight.
Okay.
That's all the airplanes have to say. We have that traffic. We have that traffic. Cool.
Okay.
Don't hit each other. Now you can't do that.
Instead of maintain 3,000.
Maintain 3,000 at 1590.
United 589, 11 o'clock, 2 miles westbound, H-60, 1600.
Insight, United 589.
United 589, thank you, Joe Wing Tower 268.
Over to Tower United 589. Tower, United 589, 28 right visual.
United 589, Charlie Tower 920 right, clear land, maintain 2000. You got traffic at your 10 o'clock in about a mile and a half, 1,500 H16. Not sure if SoCal gave you that traffic.
Yeah, they gave us that traffic. We got them straight, United 589.
United 589, roger, maintain 2000 for now. Number 720, traffic on a 2-mile final parallel runway Airbus.
20 traffic inside.
720, maintain visual separation from that traffic, Caution turbulence 20 left, clear land.
20 left, clear land, 720.
United 1704, traffic head to your left, Bonanza has you in sight, maintaining vision.
Inside United 1704.
And 925, traffic passing 600 feet above you, they do have you in sight.
925, we have them as well, no factor.
United 589, you can continue your descent, traffic no factor, 20 right, clear land.
Clear land, we were flying to an R8, United 589.
8 Echo Tango, right turn, contact ground.
Right turn, contact ground, 8 Echo Tango.
So the visual separation minima, and somebody correct me if I'm wrong here, but for VFR versus an IFR is 500 feet vertically or 1.5 miles laterally. Based on what we saw in that video, they maintained that separation. So this seems to be no issue, regardless of the GNOT.
Right. I agree.
Everything was correct, but it surprised me a little bit that the United got an RA from that.
Yeah, sometimes the TCAS doesn't quite grasp exactly what's happening and can. Oh, if you'll put that back up there, Liz, we're not finished. There's a little bit more radio transmissions that I want to talk about here.
925, contact Roselle Tower, 123.5.
Okay, so
925 over to tower. Thank you for the help. Have a great night.
Okay, everything's good. 589, the United flight is landing at Santa Ana, John Wayne.
United 589, left turn at Echo.
Left at Echo.
United 589, just want to clarify here, did you get just a traffic call reference to helicopter, or did they restrict your altitude or anything?
We had a resolution advisory for United 589 RA.
Okay, so you guys had an RA. Okay, thank you. And
they did restrict their altitude.
We're going to be addressing that because that was not good.
I don't think there was any issue there.
Exactly. And so the question, did they restrict your altitude? The answer would have been yes. It wasn't, Did you get an RA? No, that's not what he asked you. Did they restrict your altitude? And yes, they did a couple of different times, 3,000 and 2,000. Yeah. So exactly. I agree with you, AJ, that wasn't a problem. They did everything legally, even considering that general notification.
Yeah. I think this is a little bit of an overreaction to recent events.
Yeah. All right, this next one, and probably our final for today's episode, is from Aviation BRK. Would that be Aviation Break? Or Aviation Brick? I don't know. I'm sorry, no, that's from X.com. Sorry. A Transavia flight from Hurghada to Amsterdam is under internal investigation after an overbooking incident led to a woman and a young girl being seated in the cockpit for the duration of the nearly 6-hour journey. In a statement, Transavia confirmed an internal investigation is underway, but declined to provide details. The airline said its general policy on cockpit access and jump seat use aligns with EASA regulations and emphasized that the captain holds final responsibility for onboard safety and has discretionary authority within those rules. The Dutch Aviation Authority said it's not currently investigating the incident, but has flagged the practice to Transavia as undesirable. The agency added that aviation personnel are required to report such occurrences and that no formal incident exists if actions comply with the company policy and safety procedures. It also pointed to the European Union Aviation Safety Agency provisions allowing non-crew cockpit access under specific conditions. Following the ILT's concerns, Transavia is adjusting its policy. Okay, and then this next item from 1 Mile at a Time talks about the incident and the fact that aviation geeks worldwide are cheering because they thought, wouldn't it have been just an amazing opportunity to actually get to sit in the cockpit, the jump seat of a flight and witness that, something that unless you're an authorized crew member or a regulatory agency member doing an in-flight inspection or whatever, you don't really have an opportunity to sit in the jump seat of an actual flight. So, Nick, the story goes on to talk about the EASA rules and how it really kind of depends upon the individual company's policy regarding who can occupy the cockpit jump seat, correct?
Well, yeah, but generally speaking, you've got to obey EASA's legal laws concerning who goes into the flight deck. But the airline can apply its own policy, but I would assume that can only make it more restricted. So you can't erode EASA's rules with your own airline policy. I wouldn't have thought that would be legal. So, but, like our airline, we had a very clear policy on who was allowed after 9/11, who was allowed on the flight deck. And it was more restricted generally than the ones that we were obliged to follow. But as time went on and the situation became clearer, they did allow, for example, off-duty pilots to position on the flight deck. You guys have always had personnel from your airline allowed to travel on jump seat, and that remained after 9/11 check?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So I don't know whether this actually did contravene EASA. I think it must have done, which is why the airline is sort of rewriting its policy. But perhaps there was an airline policy that allowed it, and no one realized that was contravening EASA's rules. And it sounds like those two have now they've been tightened up to prevent it happening again. But normally you wouldn't. I can't imagine anyone would be allowing random passengers to sit on the flight deck. It would normally be someone who was known to the company and could be vouched for. So I don't really know any more than that on this situation. I don't know who these civilians were, whether they were family of crew or they were just happened to be overbooked passengers. That's hard to know.
Yeah, in that article, there's a list of the EASA rules, and I think it would fall under that basically no one is allowed to do that except for flight crew members, unless that person, and part 3 of that rule is permitted by and carried in accordance with instruction contained within the operations manual. And the second half of this says the commander shall make the final decision regarding the admission to the flight crew compartment. So there's some interpretation possibly there.
Yeah.
Just depends on what their operations manual says.
Yeah, I'm wondering whether those rules you have to obey them all. So you can either be an operating crew member or a representative or permitted in accordance with instructions contained in the ops manual. If you pass any one of those, would that allow you to be on the flight deck? I guess.
Well, that's the point of or, right? It would otherwise it would say
I see,
and.
Yeah, I missed that. Yeah. So yeah, indeed, or. So in this case, it looks like they didn't actually break the rules.
Well, depending on what their operations manual says.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And if they're changing their operations manual, then it was probably badly written in the first place. Perhaps it was a bit ambiguous, like most operations manual.
So, wait, hang on a minute. Is that the geezer, Larry Gregory, in our live audience? Long time no hear. He says, reminds me of a flight on Air Canada from Montreal to New York. Did that involve you, Larry? And is this Larry the geezer? And if so, you've got some splaining to do because we haven't seen you in a while. All right. Thank you. So we'll see what his response is. But in the meantime, while we await his response, we're going to go ahead and transition to the Getting to Know Us segment, that part of the show where we get to share what we've been up to between episodes. And I have a feeling we might have a few things to talk about here and there. Yeah. All right. Yes, the geezer is alive. Yay. Thank you, Larry. So good to see you. I mean, I even reached out to, I don't know, do you know that I reached out to you because we hadn't heard from you in a while? We were very concerned about you. So happy to see you. Thank you for joining us. There will be some follow-up. All right. So who would like to start with our Getting to Know Us segment, crew?
I don't mind. I can go.
Okay. Captain Nick.
So frustrations with electronics. I have a lovely iPad Pro that I use a great deal, and it's been intermittently charging, and eventually I took it today into the Genus bar, and the guy said the plug hole's fried. And he said, that's connected to the motherboard. You can't replace it as an individual part. New motherboard, 790 quid. Ow! Ouch. So I said, oh, damn it. All right. I'll buy one of your nice cheap iPad Airs, the same size. And because they got an M4 chip in it, that's pretty good. That's quite quick. That'll work. So I came home with it, and it's busy charging now. I've downloaded all my stuff onto it, and I had a sudden thought on the back of this. When I took this old one out of its case, I remembered that there are 3 dots on the back, and this is a hint for anyone who has problems with their charging point. Those 3 dots are for charging your iPad. If you've got it in the keyboard, you can attach it to an Apple keyboard. And in fact, I've got a little charging device I bought years ago. I thought that might be handy if I want to charge it when I'm using the port for data. And I've forgotten all about it. And lo and behold, I came home, and while I'm messing about with the other one, I put the little charger on the back, and the 3 pins line up. It's magnetically held, and damn thing started charging. So I don't think the data...
You could have saved a few £100.
Well, no, I've got 2 now. I mean, there's a rule here that once you acquire something, you don't give it back.
Can't give it back.
No, you don't give it back. You've just got 2 iPads now. So I can watch things in stereo or, 3D perhaps. So I can have one on each ear, or whatever. I can put one in the car. So anyway, if you find your charging point isn't working and you've got those 3 things on the back, you can buy one of these little magnetic things from Amazon, or you can just get a keyboard, and it'll charge through the keyboard, which is what it's currently doing very nicely. So that was a bit of an annoyance. However, apart from that, everything's going pretty well. I had a very interesting day yesterday. We've had an Arc Pétanque club. We've moved into our new premises. We've got a much expanded area to play on, but it's only been open for like 3 days, and it still looks like a building site. There's lots of earth piles around and stuff, but it was great. And then we had a huge competition. I did take some video, but I didn't have time to set it all up to show you. But we got players from all over the south of England and Wales and Cornwall to come to our club, and we had a big competition. And I also entered with a couple of buddies from our club, and we did all right, actually. We won enough games in the morning to get classed as competitors in the gold standard. And then if you didn't do quite so well, you were in the silver group, and then there was a bronze group underneath that. And of course, all the top players in the gold, we weren't that good. We were just lucky. We played some rubbish players in the morning. And we immediately bounced up against a team that had got up at 5 o'clock in the morning to drive, and they wanted to win all the money. And they absolutely slaughtered us. We got 1 point. And then we were relegated to the sort of, to save you all going home, then they have a little plate competition that you can then enter, which is a knockout competition. And we got through a couple of rounds of the plate competition. We were still playing gold standard teams, but we beat a couple of them. I was quite impressed. So we got to the semi-final. Eventually, we ran out of luck, and off we went. But it was a great day. A bit drizzly, but super fun. But my legs are killing me now because we were playing till gone 5, having started at quite early in the morning. Anyway, that was absolutely brilliant. Super fun. What else has been going on? Well, the plane tale today is a weird one because it's actually a video I did with our lovely friend from the Middle East, Basam Aggad, and he's giving us telling us a little bit about what it's been like operating out of the Middle East during the war that is currently going in over that entire area. And their country is slap bang in between two of the major combatants. So it's really complicated. So I hope you enjoy that. Basam's a lovely guy and a great supporter of the show. So got that. And also then popped a note from Joseph Gorton, who, has been a listener of the show for many years, and he's one of these guys that has worked really hard to get a second job, a second profession for him, which was to become a lifelong dream of becoming an airline pilot. And he came along, and we went down our local pub and had a good old meal, and we also recorded a little video. So I'm going to make a little plane tale out of that for one of the next weeks, either next week or the week after. We'll see how it goes. So listen out for that one. But I did get a little note from him, which I'll read out to him. So he says, I'm so glad the show has endured over the years. It was really quite pivotal. A pivotal inlet for me to get my fix in aviation when I was trying so hard to get in over the years. What you guys are doing in the show really makes such a difference to me, and I hope many more budding young aviators who've been able to use it to fuel their respective fires and get the careers they always wanted. Once again, thanks ever so much, and keep up the excellent work. We will meet again soon. I'm looking forward to that, Joseph, and we'll all look forward to hearing your little interview either next week or the week after.
So basically, you're outsourcing the plane tales to listeners now. Is that right?
I am using every avenue I can to make plane, and also I'm also trialing the video environment for a plane tale instead of still pictures. So moving to the next.
It's fine.
That's good. That's good. Anyway, we'll be having that after. The coffee.
Cover art?
Yeah. Oh, do you want me to do cover up? Yeah. So what did we come for suggestions? We had landing fantasy, paddle your own kayak. We managed to include a bit of that. Smoked pollen and iced tea, got that in as well. Fly in for lunch. It was sort of the $100 burger you get when you spend all that money to go to an airport to have a burger, and prime penguin steak. So what we got here is a rather large fly sitting atop your $100 hamburger. There he is, and he's having a good old suck of the green slime.
Nice.
And more importantly, the hamburger is not actually a hamburger at all. It's a penguin burger, because there's our penguin sitting there in the little skewer that goes into the hamburger. So that was, and look in the background. We've got a damn balloon floating around, and there's a kayak hanging on to the bottom of the balloon.
Perfect.
Yeah, for paddle your own kayak. And what else we got? Oh, yes. And of course, the drink to go with your burger is an iced tea. So we've got that as well. And is there anything else on that bit?
Here we have the
look at that.
Yes,
I see a number there.
The
on the
show
balloon.
number on the side of the other balloon, because it's damn dangerous airport, this one, because there's balloons everywhere.
Yeah.
And it was 701 in a kind of a fan shape on the side of that balloon. And then if you look closely at the menu, you'll find it's called the Fly In. And today's special smoked pollen. Market price. And down at the near the bottom, you've got the Jackass Burger, $100.
I hope that meat in the Jackass Burger is not our dear Jackass penguin.
No, it's not our Jackass. It's someone else's
Jackass.
Jackass.
Gotcha.
A Jackass.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
you know, there's
Where's
more
the
than one
logo?
Jack.
Did we miss the logo?
No, you didn't miss the logo. Go back to the fly.
Oh, here.
And look in his armpit.
Oh my gosh.
Can you see under the wing?
Yeah, you have to
strut.
really zoom
There
in,
you
huh?
go. Well done. Well spotted.
Wow. Okay.
They're not always easy.
Well hidden.
Yes. Wow. I forgot to mention that one. It's so well hidden, I forgot to mention it. So that was last week's show.
Yeah, so many
thanks.
components of the show you fit into that one. That's cool.
Oh, that one was easy for me, so I enjoyed it.
Excellent.
Wonderful.
How about AJ next?
AJ.
Yeah, it's better if I unmute, then you can actually hear me.
I don't know. Is it though?
Oh, no.
well.
You can feel free to mute.
Opinions vary. Yeah. So, not a ton this week. Last weekend, well, I guess the last show, we kind of talked about hopefully meeting up with one of our listeners, Chuck, and a few other people, and we did manage to make it out there. But it was quite gusty. It was quite windy that day. So unfortunately, Chuck and one of our other friends in our community were not able to make it because they fly very, very, very light airplanes called LSAs, light sport aircraft, and they don't do as well with wind. Can be a bit of a handful. So piled up quite a few people in the 206, including our friend Ben, his son, his wife, and then one of our other club members, you may remember from our Arkansas trip, Mark, and went out down to Cochran, Georgia, which is just south of Macon, basically, kind of south of Warner Robins Air Force Base and all that, and had a little fly-in, got some hot dogs and some hamburgers, and had a good time. So it was a nice little trip. Like I said, quite gusty on the down once we got down there, but not too bad for the bigger, heavier airplanes. The lighter airplanes, that would have been quite a ride, I think. So I think it was a wise choice for the guys that decided not to come. Other than that,
hey, I'm looking at that airplane, and I'm thinking, you know what would be cool? It would be cool to ride in that airplane again. I've had the opportunity to do it one time with RJ and AJ. But
no, you haven't been in this one.
Oh, which one is that?
Notice this has an extra seat in the back.
Oh, what is that? What kind of airplane is that?
That's the 206.
Oh, the 206. I was in the 182. Ah, okay. Well, I'm thinking maybe I'll have the opportunity to fly on that someday, and then we could go somewhere,
work that out.
And then we could record a show wherever we end up.
That would be fun.
Yeah.
I wonder where we should go.
Is there anything going on in April in this general area of the country?
There's always stuff going on in Florida. We can just go fly around until we found a bunch of other airplanes.
We'll see if there's something going on in Florida, and not next week, but the following week.
Yeah, the following week could be better for me. Yeah.
Okay. Very good.
I wonder if Ben wants to come. I bet Ben would want to come too.
Should ask him. All right. Cool. Yeah. We're kind of teasing the fact that we're going to be going down to Sun and Fun and recording a show from there. We're going to have some fun in the sun, hopefully. And that'll be
not too much rain.
Flying down on the 15th, I guess, Wednesday 15th. So a week from Wednesday. I'm looking forward to that.
So you guys will record a show down there, and I don't have to do any show prep. You can just do some talking at the show. That'd be great. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess we could do that, Liz. Yeah. Give you a week off. Sure. All right.
Well, Liz, there's a big airport right next to Sun and Fun. You could just fly down there and join us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ooh,
Tampa.
yes.
We'll go over there and pick you up. All right. Well, yeah, let's, anything else? Alpha Juliet?
Nope. That's pretty much it for me.
Very good. Now my turn.
Jeff.
So, I guess I should start by saying this is like, for the Catholic Church and most Christian churches, this is like the biggest week of the year, the Holy Week. And of course, this upcoming Sunday is Easter Sunday. And I've been very, very busy. Yeah, all Christians. I've been busy. I'm singing. The Catholic Church does, and and Orthodox and some other liturgical calendar kind of churches do a little bit more during the week. Holy Thursday, Good Friday, that kind of thing. And yeah, so I've been doing a lot of singing for that. It's been a very special week. And then tonight is like the biggest mass of the year in the Roman Catholic Church, which is the Easter Vigil, which is the first Easter Sunday Mass, basically,
So what time
tonight.
Is that, Jeff? Is it?
I think we start at, the Mass starts at 8 o'clock tonight. So 6:30, 6:40 is the call for the choir to go run through some things before we start.
Oh,
But
you're gonna run too? You doing running too?
well, we're not going to run. I mean, run through, like sing, rehearse. And then tomorrow, there are 3 Easter Sunday Masses. And guess what? I'm singing at all 3 of them. So it's the first one's at 7:30, 6:30. I got to show up. It's going to be a short night for me tonight. So, but I'm very, very busy with singing and I love it. And the other thing that was kind of exciting was we received some email from our feedback address from a lady who has a podcast called Pod Actually. And she said, you might be interested. And we had somebody on, and basically it's a show. It's based in Australia, I believe, that it's a podcast that talks to people and asks them what their favorite podcast is. So Will in Melbourne was on this particular episode on the back in February, and he picked the Airline Pilot Guy show, and that was his favorite podcast. And we wanted to do a shout out to Will for being on the show and talking so kindly and positively about.
Picture of Will in that.
It's a very, very teeny tiny picture of Will there in that graphic that we're showing, and you should be seeing on your chapter image.
So not actual size.
Not actual size, no. But anyway, and then we'll also include an attached article going into a little bit more depth about the show from a Substack, Reddit Substack, on this show Pod. Actually, they said very nice things. Let me just give you a little taste of it. Fasten your seatbelt. We're cleared for podcast airspace. And she says, there's something deeply reassuring about listening to people who know exactly what they're doing, not performing expertise, not gesturing at authority, actually having it. This week on Pod Actually, Will talks about why his favorite podcast is Airline Pilot Guy, a show devoted to aviation news, safety, systems, and the granular realities of flying planes. It is, by any reasonable metric, niche, or niche, if you prefer, if you're French. There are acronyms, there are incident reports, there are discussions of procedures that most of us will never need to understand. And yet, the devotion it inspires is intense, because what Will responds to isn't just the subject matter, it's the tone, the calm, the consistency, the sense that the hosts are not there to dazzle you, they're there to get it right. We talk about what it feels like to fall in love with a podcast that your friends may never have heard of, about the pleasure of recurring segments and in-jokes. Yeah, about the intimacy that develops when you spend hundreds of hours with the same voices in your ears. Anyway, so I thought it was so nice.
Actually, that's a very good depiction. I think that's.
I think so too. Yeah, and I think that she really caught the sense of, or the essence of what the show is, and it's the community that surrounds it. That's
and your guys' expertise. Let's face it. That
well,
she was getting into.
we've been around. We've done a thing or two in our careers, and so we can talk on that here and there.
Anyway, thanks to Will for.
Yeah, thank you so much, Will, for giving us a shout out on the podcast, and we're happy to give you a shout out for that. Okay, that's.
I just noticed.
Tanya's got a good point here. Will needs to join the live chat.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Where are you, Will? Come on, man.
And
join the live chat.
Speaking of people who joined the live chat, I believe this is Davis with our I Fly to Lunch.
Look at that.
From last week.
Davis is in our live audience. The whole cover art was based on the fly-in I Fly to Lunch app. And he says you can use your I Fly to Lunch account to see what's new in Florida. Okay, we look forward to that, Davis. Thanks.
Well, just tell him you're going to reach out because there might be a little bit of a hitch in the VIP.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Davis, I'm going to send you an email. I got a question about that access link, but we'll talk about it.
Yeah.
But thank you very much for sending that. That's awesome.
We might want one more for
it.
One of the guys that's also a GA guy, or Nick Camacho. He hasn't been with us because he's been so busy with working recently.
Yeah,
but
he's flying today back to the U.S. from Europe.
Yeah, he's flying back to the U.S. today from Europe and for his job. But he also is a proud owner of a renovated decathlon. No, not a decathlon.
Debonair.
Debonair. Sorry, starts with a D.
I can't believe he didn't come and see me if he was in Europe. God, I'm right next door.
Well, maybe he was just passing by. I don't know.
He said he waved, and you didn't wave back, so...
I did. I was out in my garden waving a tea towel.
Okay.
Need a bigger towel.
Should we do some coffee fun? Yeah. Okay, let's do that.
Johnny, how about some more coffee?
No thanks.
I'll have some. I love coffee. I love tea. I love the APG community. Coffee and tea and the Java and me. A cup, a cup, a cup, a cup, a cup. I'm exercising my higher tenor voice because I'm going to have to be using that a little bit later today, this evening. The Airline Pilot Guy Coffee Fund is your way, if you'd like, to support the show financially. And a couple of different ways to do it. One is the Coffee Fund Classic method, where it's mostly used for people to give us, every once in a while kind of donations. We do have some people that do use it as a recurring donation platform as well. So thank you to all of you for that. We do appreciate that and depend upon those contributions. And we also are on Patreon. You can become a patron of the show via Patreon. We have a new producer, not the producer kind of thing that you do, Liz, but a Patreon producer. Travis Hansen joins us. Thank you, Travis. And basically Patreon is a way to kind of pledge a certain amount per creation or per episode. And later in the year, though, I think we're going to have to switch to a monthly model. They're going to force us to do that. So we'll talk more about that in the future when that happens. But if you're interested in joining the Coffee Bar Club, please head over to airlinepilotguy.com/coffee. You'll be glad you did. We will too. Let's go ahead and before we do our feedback segment, let's go ahead and do our plane tail segment. So if Captain Nick, if you can tell the old pilot over there that we're ready for the plane tail, please do so.
Okay, sir. I will fire it up.
All right.
The Old Pilot's Plane Tales. An interview with Basam Aggad. Basam, it's lovely to see you again. Thank you very much indeed for arranging this meetup.
Thank you for answering my call quickly and having it in place.
You're on a quick flight in Toronto, also quick. You've got 3 days.
It's actually a little bit extended. I mean, with all you mentioned earlier about the conflict in the Middle East, so flights are less, so we get a longer layover.
Excellent.
To spend time.
Well, that's good for us because we appreciate
that's
it.
my.
Now, tell me, how's the job going? Are you still enjoying it?
Yeah, definitely. It still sounds as real as last time we spoke. We met 4 years ago, almost around this time, March of 2022, when I was still in training phase. We met almost a year ago when I just got my job and started flying.
Yeah, that was great. It was great news when I heard that you've been employed.
I still, I mean, as I said it last time, some of the captains I fly with, they find me smiling in the cockpit. And I'm like, is there anything that is entertaining? Because, you know, it's a little bit routine in the cruise. And I'll tell them, Captain, you know what? It still feels unreal for me, you know, and I genuinely enjoy every part of it. Even the, you know, the night flights, being away from family. I was lucky to, I mean, as opposed to a career pilot who spent his 20s, 30s in the career, I was lucky to spend it with my family and pick up the career at a little bit later
Absolutely,
age.
You're a mature pilot.
Yeah, for sure.
What are the destinations like? Some nice places?
The fleet I'm on, which is the Airbus 320 fleet, spreads all the way from Mumbai east to Casablanca in the west. We fly as north
Casablanca. I'd love to go to Casablanca.
Yeah. Actually, just luckily, I swiped this flight with my colleague who I was scheduled for Casablanca. And then when this Stansted flight got extended for 3 nights, he did not want to spend them in London. And I did, so we swiped it. So otherwise, I would have been in Casablanca now. So yeah, that's our network. It spreads, and everything in between that we fly to, almost around 20-ish destinations, as far north as Stockholm, as south as Jeddah in Saudi Arabia. So it's a nice network, varied.
Absolutely, it's a good selection.
Yeah, and with really nice layovers that we can spend the night or two.
Where were you with your family the other day?
So yeah, so in Jordan, and like most of the Muslim world, we just finished Ramadan, the month of fasting, and we celebrate a period of, we call it Eid. And we spent in Madrid, and that's another perk of our job, right? We can travel, yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah, you can fly around, you know, you take a family.
No, that's
always pleasurable.
Great perk,
I mean, my daughter's always, you know, who did the landing? And I was like, did you like it? And she says, yeah, it was me.
Good answer.
Yeah, so.
But there are troubles where you are living, not specifically your country, but in your area. So tell me, how did you first find out about what was going on?
Well, I mean, it was announced in the morning that the attacks will start on the country of Iran. My country is involved, at least in the term that there is American bases in Jordan operating.
Right.
We were lucky enough that we did not get hit, and we lost no lives or property in Jordan for the most part. Yeah, I mean,
fingers crossed.
Yeah, I mean, but we are literally in the crossfire between both countries. So it was. I mean, again, any conflict is bad. Our region is always seems like on a volatile and on fire. Peace and stability seems always like just one step ahead of us all the time. I try to remain optimistic.
You're a very optimistic
I try
man.
to. As I said to you earlier, you know, a wise man once said, if you have children, you have to be optimistic. There is no way around it. I mean,
that's very good.
You wish them a better future, you at least have to be able to imagine it. One of the, preparing for this flight, we had London Heathrow as our alternate. And I was like reviewing the NOTAMs. They're full of rubbish. And one of them was a NOTAM about, it says like missile launching.
Missile launching?
And I was like reading into it. I was like, that should be a NOTAM in our part of the world, not in London, but it should be safe. And it turned out to be like model rockets that are being under ATC control. So, and I was like briefing my captain, and like there's missile launches, and we just left the area where the missiles are actually there. Obviously, the conflict have affected air traffic in the Middle East in general. Our country is surrounded by 3 FIRs that are actually blocked, so we can only fly southerly.
Oh, okay.
Even for northerly destinations. Yeah, it adds around 30 to 40 minutes of extra flight time. So our flight to Stansted today usually takes 5 hours. It was 5 hours 45 of actual flight time, with some strong headwinds as well. So it wasn't only the detour. It requires a lot of coordination to operate commercial flights in such times. Many airspaces are completely locked down, and we no longer operate to. Some airspaces like the Emirates, they give certain slots that are highly coordinated for safety, with intelligence, with a lot of coordination, because you're dealing with projectiles and hostile activities. It does sound much worse than it is really. You get used to, unusual traffic around you, like military formation.
Do you see them? Or?
Yeah, I mean, at least at night, you definitely see speck of lights moving in. We don't usually see 5 aircrafts, in a very close formation next to you with nothing on the TCAS.
Oh, interesting.
And you need to confirm with the controller that they are under at least traffic information. You see also unusual traffic, such as when, say, the airspace of United Arab Emirates closed down because of closure in the airport or something. And all the traffic bound to Dubai airport, for instance, they turn around at the same time. And you can literally see the aircrafts just, they're doing a 180 going back to their destinations. So it is definitely unusual times. But it builds up resilience, it builds up experience. And we continue to hope for the best. That's our only antidote for what's happening. We have no control over it. So you try your best to operate.
No, I agree. Your optimism just comes through so strongly. And it's the only way you can really approach this. You have no control over what is occurring.
I mean, one of the, many people see the bright side of a career as a pilot, but there is definitely a downside. One of it is the volatility that has nothing to do with you personally, besides, of course, maintaining your health, etc. But airlines can shut down instantly. The pilots in the Qatar Airways, which is one of the biggest airlines in the world, they haven't been flying for the past 3 weeks. Many of them just signed up.
Well, that must be very difficult. The airline must be losing a lot of money.
Irrespective if their owners have money or not, but as a career-wise, you haven't been flying for 3 months. No matter what your contract is, it's damaging, and the sustainability of it. Are you going to keep your job? Or are you not? So this volatility, you need to be able to deal with it. I mean, hopefully, whether my colleagues in my airline or others, they have some financial planning to absorb the hit. I mean, eventually, I lost half of my roster this month for cancelled flights.
Okay.
So it does have an impact.
Yeah.
But I'm lucky that I'm still flying. Again, as I told you, Gulf operators like Emirates, Etihad, Qatar Airways, Kuwait Airways have completely halted operations altogether. So it is uncertain. It's uncertain time. So at least if you can manage your expectations, you can go by.
Yeah, absolutely. How long before you think you'll be back to normal operations?
It does feel uncertain because there is no. There is a declared objective of the war, or at least by the parties involved, of what they expect the outcome of it. But with any conflict, it can always take a turn to the worse without knowing. So predictions are tough, but there is definitely something that just broke, which is people can't just snap back into taking vacations in the Middle East, whether in Jordan or Dubai. Tourists, whether Western or otherwise, it won't be on their first top of mind to choose to come to Jordan in such conditions, right? Or Dubai for that matter, or any.
It's going to take a long time for everything to get back to a
for the price of fuel to go down after the bomb that just happened. That will take a while. So the impact of the war will overlast any resolution that might happen immediately. That's what I can say, really. It's just like with any conflict. You just pray that innocent people won't be hurt.
Yeah, that is the most important
honestly,
thing.
Because
you and your family are safe, your friends are safe.
Exactly. I mean, you don't wish it on anyone to lose a loved one or to even property damage. You know, it's bad enough to hear a siren, you know, like the war sirens.
You have been hearing?
Yeah, we have to, because, again, my country is literally in the crossfire between both countries. And every time there's an incoming... whether it was missiles or unmanned vehicles or projectiles, they are detected. So they activate the sirens just as a measure of precaution to be indoors. Now, we are not the target, but as with any projectile, it can miss its target.
Oh, absolutely.
It might be shot down in an undesired place. And that's why our route planning and our flight planning take into consideration really prolonged holds. And it happens a lot of time that we hold in a safe area for a while until whatever activity is in place. And that's a testament to our really, I mean, I'm not trying to praise my flight operations.
Feel free.
But it's really a 24-hour job to keep on top of things. It's not just weather information. It's not just... the usual. There is a lot of input that goes into maintaining such operation in such times.
Yeah.
And
yes, your company must be working really hard to try and get the best intelligence.
And it influenced also other companies that copied, because we've been through this last year as well. So there was a similar 12-day, they call it the 12-day war now. It was back in March of 2025. And it is almost the same thing.
Wow.
And they developed an operational plan that maintained operations throughout the conflict. And it was beneficial for us this time around, and for other airlines in the Middle East that saw what we did. They shared the experience and they operated accordingly.
Okay. Well, we will wish you well. And
Thank you very much.
In particular, we want to make sure and we pray that your family remains safe.
Thank you.
And that you remain safe.
Yeah, I mean, we try, that's our job, you know.
No one expected you to fly around in a war zone.
You know, our company, they had some secondment pilots that came to operate during the summer. I'm not sure if that plan was going to continue. And those gentlemen and a few ladies, they came from Peru, you know, and it's a totally different environment. And for them, you know, when they first joined, they said, you know, flying into flat terrains and stuff, it's totally different from flying in the South America where they have high airport with humid and stuff. So it was challenging, and they come to our part of the world with really flat terrain, and there's no weather like apparently there. But then suddenly the war broke out, and then like, we did not sign up for this.
This was supposed to happen.
Yeah, but after a few weeks, you know, things it is volatile. But there's a small quote from an old movie called Jurassic. If you remember Jurassic Park.
Oh yeah.
And there's a nice quote in it. I mean, it might be a little bit superficial, but life always finds a way, you know. And you know, people live again. Yeah, I know under war, people still get married, still had kids, you know, during World War II and stuff. So life moves on. But you still wish for, you know, not as naive as world peace, but you know. People want to live, you know. That's what really matters at the end of the day, and that's what I aspire for sure.
That's very well said. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you very much.
Speaking
I appreciate arranging.
Very nice. Enjoyed that interview, Captain Nick.
Well, thank you very much. Basam is a super guy, and the fact that this is his second career, I think is remarkable. He was very successful in his initial career, so it gave him the money to fund all his own training, and he's done very well. But I felt, you know, when the war started, I started feel for him, and it's so lovely that was able to touch base with him and find out that he's relatively safe in Jordan, so that's good. But it's not a healthy place to be at the moment, particularly as an airline pilot, because we know just how vulnerable we are from the incidents that have occurred, in previous conflicts in Ukraine. So, I just feel for him. Anyway, that's very good. Thank you again for that, Basam. He's such a lovely guy. I enjoy chatting to him. He's a very good value.
Yeah, so it was good to hear again from you, Basam, and Godspeed. Hope you stay safe. All right.
Kind.
Let's do some feedback.
Captain, incoming message.
And let's stay on the whole Middle East Iranian war theme. We have some video footage from our Middle East correspondent.
Hello, Captain Jeff, APG crew and community. This is Hong Kong Nigel. Belated congratulations on Series 700. Sorry I missed that. I thought I'd give you a quick catch-up as a PICS from our side of the cockpit call. I was away in Indonesia when somebody declared war, and of course now I've got to get a flight back to the Northern Hemisphere. It's pretty difficult because if you look at Flight Radar 24, you'll see there are two war zones with a checkpoint of everyone going down the middle and everyone going down the middle of the long-haul flights from Asia. Basically, the Emirates, Qatar and Etihad all reduced their flights, so that meant that people like Thai, Singapore, Malaysian, Cathay, Korean, they're all sweeping a bonanza. In fact, the Cathay flights were about 5 times the price that they normally are, and they are booked solid for 2 weeks ahead, even though they're doing 7 flights a day out of Hong Kong, for example. So they put on extra flights. I'm quite looking forward to my profit sharing when we get some profit sharing next year, or dividends as I have to call it now that I'm just a shareholder and not an employee. So I looked at going east about via the States and Canada. I sort of ruled the States out because the TSA and ICE security queues are up to 3 hours, so I gave that a miss. I was looking pretty closely at Canada to get from Asia back to the UK, but there were some seats, but they were full of standby, so unfortunately I missed out on seeing Miss Producer Piper in Toronto, which I was thinking about quite seriously. Anyway, here I am. Guess where? I'll give you a pan round shortly as your war correspondent, and I'm currently sitting in Abu Dhabi in the United Arab Emirates, and I have to say it is a fantastic airport, not that you can see much of it here. We've just had to take shelter. We were all ushered into a corridor waiting for the bombs to drop, but obviously it got shot down or missed or flew on somewhere else. So I've got my tin hat and my flak jacket just sitting here by. So Eddie had got some limited key routes, so I'm just about to jump on a London flight, which is the other side but can't see it, 380. So I thought I'd bring you all up to date, and as long as I get out of here in the next couple of hours, I'll be back in Blighty soon. So best wishes to you all, and keep the blue side up, or whatever you say. Tailwinds Douglas, talons, isn't it? And this is Hong Kong Nigel signing out, the most prestigious of them all, and archaic.
That's for sure. That was our war correspondent, Hong Kong Nigel.
He's just been showing me pictures of his motorcycle. He's got his fantastic Harley Davidson. He's just had it, while he was away, had it resprayed. And it's all these beautiful shades of pale blue with very subtle fire effect going through. It looks absolutely fabulous. So I'm sure he'll be out on that before long.
Nice. Hey, and some more inside baseball. While the Plaintail was playing, I received a telephone call from Larry Gregory, the geezer. And he who was trying to explain in our live audience chat, what he meant by his flight from Montreal to, or reminds me of my flight from Montreal to New York. Years ago, he was on a flight traveling from Toronto to New York, and then New York to Tulsa, which is where he resides. And I guess they had some kind of a mechanical issue with the airplane. They had to divert to Montreal. And while they were in Montreal, the captain came out and said, hey, it's going to be a couple of hours. If you'd rather not wait, you can go ahead and go to this jet over here, this flight, blah, blah, blah. And he said almost everybody left. And he said about 15 minutes later, the captain said, you know what? The issue is resolved. And so we're going to continue on. And they moved everybody in the back up to first class. He said he got to enjoy a first class meal. But the very, very best part of it is once they took off and they were up at cruise altitude, the captain came back and invited anybody who was interested to come up to the cockpit and enjoy the panoramic views from the flight deck windows and such. And so he got a chance to actually experience the cockpit jump seat or whatever in flight. So Larry, by the way, for those of you who may be new, he's been a longtime listener of our show, and he is a private pilot himself. And so it was so good to hear from him. Thanks, Larry, again for giving me a call and kind of explaining what you were trying to explain in the chat, but it wasn't allowing you to do so. So anyway,
great to hear from him.
Again, yeah, great to hear from him, and some inside APG, inside baseball there. All right. So
jump to number 10, Nick.
Okay, we're going to jump over to feedback 10. Yeah, let's do that. This feedback is from the Badger pilot via Alpha Juliet. So you know what, AJ, go ahead. You have control. Take over.
Oh, that would mean I would have to have the right page up. There it is.
Yeah, it would.
So this is referring back to, was it 701, I guess, when we were talking about the different radio channels
LaGuardia,
or different types of radios that we could possibly switch to. So this was, say again?
I was switching to like a digital, like Captain Nick was making the point. The technology exists to have so much better radio communications out there. So go ahead. I'm sorry.
Correct. So friend of the show, and also was on another podcast, the Flying Midwest podcast, which is a good one especially if you're in that area. They have a lot of cool general aviation stories and news and experiences and stuff. But Badger Pilot sent us an answer, said, to answer Jeff's question about similar priority radios trying to broadcast at the same time, he said, if it's anything like our radio is at work, their dispatchers can override officers and supervisors, and the supervisors can override officers. So you have multiple levels of priority there. He said if two officers or two people on the same level try to key up at the same time, the priority goes to whoever hit the button first, and the other does nothing until they try again to key up when the channel is free. And I didn't think about that, but I've experienced that in the past with similar radios. You actually get, on some of the systems, you'll get a tone. If you try to key up and somebody else is already talking, it gives you a tone that says, hey, you're not going out. So that is could be an effective way to get that done. However, there's the open mic catch, right? So if you have someone with a hot mic or an open mic, they basically have the entire channel completely blocked. Like you don't even have the opportunity to transmit over them unless you have a higher priority. So there's some pitfalls to that plan, but it gives you a little more background on what's going on there.
Interesting.
It is interesting, and I'm particularly interested to know, is this guy really a Badger pilot? You know, the Tu-16 NATO reporting name Badger.
Oh.
So
no,
he's a Soviet pilot?
No, he is a Badger. Furry.
Oh, he's not a human.
Oh, an actual Badger.
Yes.
Oh, fair enough.
Yes.
All right. Because I've intercepted a few Badgers.
No, the
pilot,
the state
the animal or the airplane?
Oh, both actually.
Both.
Oh, there you go.
the state of Wisconsin. It's the University of Wisconsin. Their mascot is a badger.
Oh, is that where the badgers come from? I wondered.
State animal, isn't it?
It's also the state animal. Yeah.
Yeah.
For
It's
sure.
the badger state.
Excellent.
Yeah.
You want to do number 11, Jeff, Andreas, because it's back
Do I
to-
want to do number 11? No, I don't want. Okay. Let's do that.
You like Andreas.
11.
Haven't heard from him for a while.
And I like elephants too. This is from Andreas Moller, the LaGuardia collision. The big elephant? Huh, I don't remember that in our story. Let's see what he's talking about. Hi, Jeff and crew. Thanks for your discussion in APG 701 regarding the Jazz Air Canada Express runway collision at LaGuardia. You did a good job of going through some of the holes in the cheese, or Funyuns, that had to line up for an accident like this to happen. One point of discussion was the runway status lights, which, if they were operational, should have prompted Truck 1 to contact the tower again rather than proceed onto the runway. As always, the investigation will show what was and what wasn't. But at least one at the Blancolirio channel seems to be fairly convinced that they were active. You know, as an aside here, I think I was reading from another source that they were kind of speculating that perhaps that system actually wasn't active at the time or in use. So I'm sure that's going to be a big part of the investigation. Anyway, back to Andreas's feedback. However, for me, the really big elephant nobody seems to want to mention is the procedure to clear aircraft to land in advance before the runway is actually theirs and clear to land on. Nick, I can't think of, is there anybody here that kind of feels that way? Nick mentioned it in the discussion about the near miss at Newark, but to me, it should definitely be mentioned as a factor in the LaGuardia collision. According to the timeline, the tower controller cleared Jazz Air Canada Express to land as number 2 more than 2 minutes before the collision happened. It does seem that with all the other stuff going on at the airport that the single controller had to handle, those 2 minutes ended up being enough time to forget that clearance had been given. I can't help but to think that if the European procedure, where a landing clearance is only given when it is actually your turn to land and the runway is actually clear, had been in effect, maybe the situation could have ended differently. So to me, the landing clearance procedure used should definitely be listed as one of the contributing causes and as a safety issue. Anyway, that's my 2 cents worth. Feel free to discuss this further. Thank you. And keep up the good work. All the best from Andreas in Sweden. Thank you, Andreas, so much for that great question. And I have a feeling I know where Captain Nick is going to land on this, so to speak.
Oh, I think most people from who are used to having this type of clearance probably feel it's safer, mainly because it's a fail-safe system. If for some reason you don't get your clearance, you go around. So if there's an issue with the radio or something, or there is something on the runway and the guy can't transmit to send you around, you go around anyway because you haven't had your landing clearance. And yeah, it sometimes it can be frustrating because occasionally people will go around because the controller is trying to give you the clearance at the same time. Some verbose idiot is checking in and telling you that he's had a nice afternoon in his aeroplane eating scones and cream and all the rest. And he blocks the frequency so that you never get a clearance in time. So you end up going around. It does happen occasionally, but that kind of is indicative of the safety of doing your clearances that way around, in that if you don't get a clearance, you don't land. You perform a go around. Thing is that the way that it is done in America, and it's the only country in the world that I've ever flown to that do it this way, to get your clearances way out when it's, there are lots of things that can happen between you getting your clearance and actually arriving at the runway that might prevent your landing, and all those require the controller to stop you from landing by making another transmission. We obviously are used to that. You guys are not. And changing the minds of 50 billion American pilots, that the system that they're completely used to,
that's an exaggeration,
and very happy with, would be very hard. I mean, just changing a few words to bring you more in line with the rest of the world meets a lot of resistance. But you never know, there might be the opportunity.
I think it has more to do with not convincing the pilots as much as it is convincing our air traffic control system, air traffic controllers. What do you think, AJ?
Yeah, I think the controllers are going to go with what the rule is. So if the rule is you can only clear one airplane to land, you can only clear one airplane to land at a time. Mm-hmm. They play by that book pretty closely.
I have to say that I've been very, very slowly and steadily have been swaying more toward the line of thinking where perhaps this is something that we should take a look at and maybe revamp the system and go more toward the European way. I don't know.
No, don't say that, Liz. This is pretending it's a competition. No, it's not. We're all trying to get on the same side here.
I'll say there's some upsides to the clearing one airplane at a time to land, but they do some other things that are kind of pretty sketchy too. That they'll give lineup and wait clearances to airplanes before the runway is clear. So meaning there's an airplane that is cleared to land, and they'll tell an airplane behind the 747 on 2 mile final, line up and wait. And they'll do that 3 or 4 times. So they're not cleared to take off, but they are cleared to enter the runway. And you get that wrong just once. It goes sideways like the rest of this. So I've been cleared to land number 4 in a pattern before. I think that's probably the highest. I don't think I've ever had anything higher than that. But you're paying attention to where those other participants in your scenario are at.
You should be.
You better be, yeah. Which honestly, in that kind of scenario, you're paying possibly even closer attention to what's going on. I think one of the contributing factors to this event was that the pilots in the airplane didn't seem to recognize that their runway was being crossed.
Right.
There didn't seem to be any conversation about it, any mention of it, any awareness of it even. I'm still, I know we're still finding things out. I'm very curious to find out what the transfer of controls immediately after touchdown was about, because that's such a non-standard thing. And so I don't know if this applies directly to that concept. I'm not against the discussion, but
running through it in my mind, as Andreas did, if the procedure were such that you had to give the clearance to land closer in, it may or may not have made a difference in this scenario, but I can almost see where if I'm required now as the controller to look out again and say, okay, yeah, definitely the runway's clear, and I see him coming in, you are clear to land. And if for some reason I've forgotten about the Jazz flight coming in, as it seems that the controller did, the Jazz pilot would go around because he has not received clearance. Or he might say something, quick key up on the radio, are we cleared to land? And then that draws the controller's attention over to, oh, no, I've already given the ARF vehicle clearance to cross. So I could see both sides of the coin on this one. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's and the scanning the airport is a huge part of being a controller in a tower, ground or a local controller, controlling the air side. And I think this again just goes back to, it sounds like that guy was pretty covered up. He was task saturated, and part of that was, in the mix was that scan falling down. So
yeah. Well, I haul boxes in our live audience says maybe the tower needs to display a giant lighted number board, like with basketball, indicating how many is now up for landing.
Now serving number 34.
I think you should have a ticket system, and you can't land until your ticket number comes up.
Yeah, now serving number 67.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I think we're kind of reverting or something. What is it? Going back. Yeah, regressing in our technology now. Okay. Well, good discussion.
We'll get the fancy radios and the scoreboard, and we'll be set.
Can't wait to get
this.
this.
Oh, yeah. Those fancy radios. That'll be great.
Yeah. for sure.
It'll really upset the guys that record all the frequencies, though.
Yeah.
Very true. Very true.
Oh,
All right.
Chuck's got a great idea. We could all just get pagers like we're getting a table at a restaurant.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Just circle around until your buzzer goes off.
So you're thinking, Liz, we should do one more before we end?
One more quick one. Peter Tarantelli, number 5.
Peter Tarantelli. Okay. Sent us some feedback. He has a question. Hey, Captain Jeff, catching up, listening to APG 698, and have a quick question on taxi instructions. This episode had an audio from JFK. My question, what percentage do you think of commercial pilots physically write down taxi instructions at a busy airport like JFK? Hope you're doing well, Peter. Okay, so I think I might not be the the standard or the majority of people out there regarding taxi instructions. Maybe it's just because I can't write that fast or something. But I've always, in my career, especially when I was a first officer, having to do a majority of the communications while on the ground as a captain is typically, taxiing the aircraft. I never did write down, or very rarely write down all my instructions because I just didn't think I could sketch it quite quickly enough on my little piece of paper and then read it back as quickly as they're expecting me to read it back. So I always try to use my brain and my SA and try to picture exactly what that routing is, or now looking at the iPad, the EFB, and looking at the airport diagram and kind of making sure that you are understanding what the instructions are. And if you have any question to, query about them. But I do know that a lot of the first officers, so most of the last 20 years or so of my career, I was a captain. So I wasn't the one responsible for reading back all those incredibly detailed taxi instructions from ground control. But my first officers, in most cases, would use the flight management system. What do they call that? A scratch pad or whatever, and type in kind of in a shorthand way the instructions, and so it's somewhere you can look at it and remind yourself exactly what it was that you just read back or had been given to you and read back. So that's my experience. But again, I'm saying that I'm probably the exception, not the rule to this. What do you think, Captain Nick?
This is called Readback. This is what I had at the end of my career. So it's an app you get for your iPad, and it has symbols and a nice clear keyboard, so that you just tap it in and it comes up in the grey box. And when you finish that, it actually keeps it in sort of memory, so you can go back to it and scroll back and see what the clearance was, etc., etc. And there were lots of different keyboards. So if you were doing a clearance, then it had more symbols that were usable for that, and it was just an aide memoir that I found very useful.
Nice.
That is really neat. Yeah, I'm a shorthand on the scratch pad on my EFB on my tablet for if it's complicated. There's a lot of airports I go to that are not terribly complicated, but if you go to somewhere bigger, Hartsfield or Charlotte or one of something that they're giving you 5 or 6 different taxiways to follow. Yeah, jotting down the route is not a bad idea.
Yeah, I'm not saying that what I was doing or not doing was the way to do it. I'm just saying that just me personally and worked for me. But I agree
There's
with
no right or wrong, is there, Jeff?
Yeah, I think it's a good idea.
If you can make it work.
Yeah, and I think most, to answer your question, Peter, I think most do actually write down, especially complicated instructions like that.
Got a couple of comments on really
we have a couple of comments from our live chat. Larry Gregory, the geezer, says, I asked the tower, do you want 2722R to wait while Eastern 993 lands over the top of me? I got an immediate takeoff clearance. Yeah, that's a good question. It's always good to query and make sure you clarify, Larry. Thank you. iHall Boxes says, I was told that Atlanta controllers were issuing instructions after Jeff's taxiing because he was going so fast. So they gave it to me after I had done, because I know what I'm doing. Ain't nobody going to tell me where to go. I'm just going to do it so quickly they won't have a chance to tell me.
Exactly. Catch me if you can.
Great comments, as usual, from our wonderful live chat audience. And again, just another plug for, being with us as we record these shows live. Make sure you follow us on the social medias, which we'll talk about here very, very soon, because we're wrapping it up right now. And I always point you to our website, airlinepilotguy.com first, so you can find out information about the crew and the community, which is the most important part of all of this. The community calendar. We have our librarian Tiffany with the reading, what do we call it? APG library. We have the APG store, which I hope, Peter, really, I honestly am going to contact you at some point, really, for sure. We can get all that ginned up again, and people can submit ideas for new T-shirt and coffee mug ideas for related to our show. Let's see, what else? The Plaintail, there's a special dedicated page for that, and Plaintails, and so much more. Please check it out, airlinepilotguy.com. And we're also on the social media.
/Airline Pilot Guy if you're a faceplant person. And if you're ex-Twitter... Did you see what I did there?
Yeah, we see. Yeah. Very, very, very clever.
At APG Crew. And if you're a fan of the artwork and wants to see it as soon as it's done, you need to go to instagram.com/APG Crew. And you've, as Jeff has suggested, you want to join us in the chat room and listen to the sausage being cooked up. YouTube.com/Airline Pilot Guy, all one word.
Well done.
There you go. And
Who's
yes,
in
very
your
well done,
shower?
sir. Thank you. And wait a minute, hang on. Oh, yeah. As usual, behind that door right there, there's a shower. And you know who's in it? Hello? Hello, can you tell us about Slack?
Okay, but I'm dripping wet.
Come on over. Tell us all about it.
APG listeners, please join us on our Slack team. Slack is a communication, coordination, and sharing platform that works on your mobile, laptop, or browser. On Slack, we share news and ideas, we suggest episode and Plaintails topics, we plan events and meetups. To get into the Slack team, please email me at slack@airlinepilotguy.com. That's SLACK, Sierra Lima Alpha Charlie Kilo @airlinepilotguy.com. Or send me a tweet with your preferred email address to @Hillel, and I'll send you an invitation. That's Hillel, spelled Hotel India 11 Echo 1, and see you in Slack.
All right. Thank you, Hillel, for managing that Slack group. And also, we'd like to... Oh, well, I guess his wife is still with him there in the shower. We'd like to also say thank you to our producer, Liz Piper. Thank you so much for all the hard work you do. I mean, I can't tell you. It's a lot of work, especially having to deal with us during the show. It's a lot. Wow. And
it's during the show, before the show, after the show?
After the show, all of it. Yeah. Bless her heart. Yeah. And also thank you to our live audience. We've mentioned you several times during this episode, and we couldn't do it without you. And, well, we could. It just wouldn't be as fun and interesting.
Really boring.
Yeah. And with that, we're going to end the show by telling you to, wishing you clear skies, unlimited visibility, and tailwinds. Talons, Douglas.
Bye, everybody.
You're welcome.
See you next time.
Yeah, he's up in the sky. It's the airline pilot guy.
Good day.
I used to be such a good pilot till I started APG. I opened doors for little old ladies. I helped them to their seats. Airline pilot guy, I fly America. Oh, airline pilot guy, he can land in heavy fog. I got no friends 'cause I'm always flying. I just don't have the time. But but I can land this old plane. I can land it just fine. Airline pilot guy, I fly alone.